Hello, vintage Star Wars fans, and welcome back. Today we're looking at a very special piece from the early days of Star Wars collecting, the Yoda the Jedi Master board game by Kenner. By the early 1980s, Kenner wasn't just producing action figures. They were expanding their galaxy into board games, puzzles, and all kinds of Star Wars-themed activities. It was part of a larger effort to give young fans more ways to interact with their favorite galaxy far, far away. And it worked. This copy right here comes from my own childhood collection. It's a bit of a time capsule, and I'm excited to finally share it with you. Let's take a closer look and see what this board game has to offer. And what better place to start than with the box? The artwork immediately draws you in. Master Yoda appears throughout, ready to guide young heroes across the swamps of Dagobah. The back of the box brings the excitement to life, showcasing all the included components and featuring a classic photo of kids enjoying the game in true early 80s fashion. This particular box shows a bit of shelfware, the kind you'd expect after decades of storage and use. A few corners are rounded, and there's some light warping along the side panels. Structurally, though, it's still solid, and overall, it has held up remarkably well for a game that's more than 4 decades old. It's the kind of wear that tells a story. Not damage, but character from years of being played, packed, and probably stacked beneath a few other board games. From a collector's standpoint, it's not mint, but it's intact, original, and full of charm. For this one, I think a basic cleaning is all it really needs. The box has held up well enough that I'd rather preserve its history than over-restore it. With proper storage, the minor warping along the sides should settle over time on its own. As for cleaning, I'll be using nothing more than a paper towel with a small amount of isopropyl alcohol. It's just enough to lift away surface grime without wetting the paper or risking damage to the print. The key is to go slowly. Use it sparingly, wipe gently, and with a little patience, the result is a clean, unscathed box that's still very much itself. Let's lift the lid and see what's inside. Because really, few things capture that childhood thrill quite like opening an old game box. It's the sound of cardboard giving way, the scent of time-worn paper, and that first glimpse of pieces that haven't seen daylight in decades. Let's take a look. And here it is, the full contents of Yoda the Jedi Master, laid out just as they might have been on a living room table back in the early 1980s. Everything you need to become a Jedi Knight, straight out of a cardboard time capsule. It's simple, colorful, and full of that unmistakable Kenner charm. Let's take a closer look at each of the pieces. First up, we have the 4-player pieces, red, green, blue, and yellow. Each one is a thin cardboard cutout of Luke Skywalker, slotted into a brown plastic base so it can stand upright on the board. What stands out right away is Luke's outfit. Rather than his Dagobah fatigues from The Empire Strikes Back, this version of Luke is clearly dressed in his Tatooine farm boy attire from A New Hope. It makes me wonder if Kenner had only the original film's assets to work with during development and simply carried that forward when the game was released. That wouldn't be unusual for the time. A lot of early Empire-era merchandise was still drawing from Star Wars reference material while Lucasfilm ramped up licensing. Next, we come to the spinner. And in true Kenner fashion, it's more than just functional. The base is a square, flat board with a stylized image of a tree stump, its rings forming a kind of visual echo of time and growth. At the center is a plastic arrow that spins freely, pointing players toward their fate. What's clever here is how the results are laid out across 3 concentric rings. The outermost circle alternates between green and red, with the green marked Enter the System, and the red left ominously blank, almost as if to say, not yet. The next circle in is a duel between yellow and red, the Force versus dark side. It's simple, binary, and loaded with drama, just the kind of stakes a young mind could latch onto. And then there's the innermost ring, divided into numbers 1 through 6, though not in equal measure. The 4s dominate the field, while 1s and 6s are far rarer, a subtle way of building tension and shaping outcomes with just enough unpredictability. It's a great example of how even the mechanics of a children's board game can carry atmosphere. You're not just spinning to move, you're navigating destiny in miniature. Next, we have the game's 2 distinct decks of cards. The Jedi cards, and the Yoda cards. The Jedi deck is by far the larger of the two, made up of 68 cards. Each card plays a role in guiding your journey toward Jedi knighthood. Some feature short challenges or scenarios, while others offer clues, encouragements, or setbacks. The variety adds a surprising amount of flavor for a game aimed at younger players. Then we have the 28 Yoda cards, smaller in number but arguably more powerful in impact. True to form, Master Yoda doesn't speak often, but when he does, you'd be wise to listen. These cards tend to offer wisdom or sometimes judgment from the Jedi Master himself. The design is modest but distinctive, with white card backs and clean black lettering. Crisp, minimal, and unmistakably vintage. And while the fronts use actual images from The Empire Strikes Back, they're stylized in bold monochrome. Golden yellow for Luke, green for Yoda. It's that early 1980s visual shorthand, simple, striking, and somehow inviting you to shuffle the deck just one more time. The game board is a visual time capsule. Lightweight, glossy, and folded once down the middle, though printed with 4 distinct quadrants on its surface. At the center is a large image of Yoda, watching over the action as players navigate their training across his murky, vine-draped homeworld. The layout moves through 4 interconnected zones: the Dagobah camp, the Yoda camp, the Jedi training camp, and finally the daunting Jedi trials. Each area is outlined with bold black pathways, dotted lines, and color-coded prompts for card draws. Vibrant splashes of red, green, and yellow break up the otherwise muted tones, adding a bold functional contrast to the track. While the board favors clarity over atmosphere, there's still something evocative in its design. The crisp lines, the saturated photo stills, the purposeful use of color, it all speaks to the no-nonsense graphic style of the early 1980s. Straightforward, yes, but with just enough mystery to pull you in. Lastly, we come to the instruction manual, the final key component of the set. Printed on a white and light green paper stock with stark black ink, the manual echoes the overall aesthetic of the board game: bold, straightforward, and unmistakably vintage. The front cover features a dramatic half-tone image of Yoda, set beneath an X-wing and a Luke Skywalker line illustration, along with the bold, block-lettered title, Yoda the Jedi Master Game. It's a striking design, functional, yet stylish enough to feel at home among late 1970s and early 1980s board games. Unfolding the manual reveals a single large sheet, printed front and back, that serves as both rulebook and reference guide. There are no staples, no separate pages, just a simple fold-out format. The text is concise and easy to follow, broken into clearly labeled sections with small illustrations to help explain the mechanics. And at the bottom, a final blessing from Yoda himself. Good luck. May Yoda guide you in the ways of the Force. So we've taken a look at the manual itself, its design, its layout, and its classic Kenner charm. The only thing left now is to learn how to play the game. Let's follow the path, spin the dial, and see just what it takes to become a Jedi Knight. Before we begin, each player selects a Luke Skywalker token. The Jedi cards and the Yoda cards are shuffled separately, then placed face down on the board. To decide who goes first, we use the spinner. Each player takes a spin. The highest number goes first, the next highest goes second, and so on. If there's a tie, those players simply spin again. To start the game, spin the spinner. If the spinner points to Enter the System, place your Luke Skywalker token in the square marked Enter System. Do not proceed any farther. Draw 2 Jedi cards and follow the instructions, then your turn ends. If the spinner does not point to Enter the System, your turn ends immediately. Wait until your next turn to try again. Once you've entered the system, each turn begins by spinning the spinner and moving your token the number of spaces shown. As you journey along the path, you must travel around 3 camps. Along the way, you'll also encounter 2 special types of spaces: Yoda spaces and Jedi spaces. When your token lands on a Yoda space, it's time to consult the Jedi Master himself. Draw a Yoda card from the top of the stack, read it aloud, and follow its instructions. Once completed, return the card to the bottom of the deck, unless it's something you're meant to keep. In that case, hold on to it until the right moment comes along. Every time your token lands on a Jedi space, you'll draw 1 Jedi card from the top of the stack. There are 2 types of Jedi cards you might pull: Jedi merits, and Jedi instructions. Jedi merits should be saved. You'll need at least 5 of them in order to win the game. Be careful, though. If you lose a battle with the dark side, you'll lose Jedi merits too. Jedi instructions are any cards that aren't marked as merits. When you draw one, read it aloud, follow the instructions, and then return the card to the bottom of the stack. One of the Jedi instruction cards may tell you to go around camp again. If you're already in a camp when you draw this card, you'll need to go around it again before continuing on your path. If you're not in a camp at the time, save the card and go around the next camp twice, or even more than twice, if you've collected multiple cards with the same instruction. You can also earn additional Jedi cards by winning a battle against the dark side, either in the short routes or during the Jedi trials. There are 2 ways to enter a short route. One option is to land on an Enter Short Route square by exact count. The other is to draw a Yoda card that reads, Take Next Short Route. If you have that card, you may enter any short route you pass, but it can only be used once. In either case, entering the short route is completely optional. You can always choose to pass it up. Taking a short route can help you move more quickly around the board, but be warned, entering one means you must immediately face the dark side in battle. To do that, give the spinner a whirl and see what fate has in store. If the spinner lands on the Force, you win the battle. Spin again and move your token forward the number of spaces shown. Then draw 2 Jedi cards, follow their instructions, and also draw a Yoda card. Do whatever it tells you to do. If the spinner lands on dark side, you lose the battle. You must return 2 of your Jedi merit cards to the bottom of the Jedi card stack and lose your next turn. If you do not have any Jedi merit cards to give up, place your token at the entrance of the last camp you passed. You'll lose your next turn, and when you return to play, you must go around that camp again. If you only have 1 Jedi merit card, you get to keep it, but you'll still need to place your token at the entrance of the last camp you passed. Just like before, you'll lose your next turn, and once it's your turn again, you must go around that camp again. The 4 Jedi trial spaces are the final test before you can enter the Jedi Knight Circle. Each trial space presents a battle with the dark side, and you must win in order to move forward. Once you reach the first trial space, you do not need to land on it by exact count. As soon as you arrive, you must stop and do immediate battle with the dark side using the spinner. If you spin and win, draw 2 Jedi cards. Move your token ahead to the next trial space and battle again. If you win a second time, take 2 more Jedi cards, advance, and face the dark side once more. Your turn continues until you've passed all 4 trials, or until you lose a battle. When you win the final trial, known as Challenge the Dark Side, your turn ends. You may draw 2 Jedi cards, then advance to the beginning of the Jedi Knight Circle. But if you lose a battle, you must return 1 Jedi merit card to the bottom of the stack, leave your token where it is, and on your next turn, battle again. You'll remain on that space until you succeed or until you run out of Jedi merit cards. If you lose and no longer have any Jedi merit cards to give up, your token must return to the beginning of the Jedi training camp. On your next turn, you'll need to complete the camp path before continuing forward. To enter the Jedi Knight Circle, you must have 5 Jedi merit cards. If you win your final Jedi trial but do not have the required 5 merits, your journey is not over. Your token must return to the first trial space, and you must begin the 4 Jedi trials again, starting with an immediate battle against the dark side. Once inside the Jedi Knight Circle, you're on the threshold of victory. On each turn, spin and move your token around the circle. If you land on a yellow space by exact count, you must battle the dark side immediately. If you lose that battle, return 1 Jedi merit card to the bottom of the stack. Your journey continues around the circle on your next turn. However, if at any point you drop below 5 Jedi merit cards, you must return to the beginning of the Jedi trials. From there, the tests begin again, starting with a battle against the dark side. But if you land on a yellow space, spin, and win the battle, you've done it. You have completed your training, overcome the trials, and become a Jedi Knight. You've won the game.
I don't believe it.
That is why you fail.
And with that, the game is complete, and our journey through Yoda's swampy homeworld comes to a close. Now it's time to carefully pack everything back up. To help keep things organized, I placed the Luke Skywalker tokens in a resealable plastic bag. For any purists out there, the original plastic bag is included alongside them. The bases were given their own resealable bag, and the cards were stored in their own resealable bag as well. For long-term preservation, I'll be placing the game inside a custom-made game board protector from Katana Collectibles. Following the company's instructions, I'll carefully seal the game in place, making sure the box stays secure without unnecessary pressure or distortion. Katana produced this custom protective sleeve in under 24 hours, and I had it at my doorstep within 3 days. Normally, when you hear the word custom, two things come to mind: time and cost. Time wasn't even close to an issue, and the cost? Around $10. You seriously can't beat that. Just creasing the fold lines for better flexibility here. These protectors ship flat, so getting those edges to hold their shape is key to a clean fit. Now I'm removing the protective film from the front and the back. That'll keep the surface clear and glossy. And here comes the part I enjoy most, sliding the box into place, slow and steady. There we go, protected and looking sharp. And there it is, sealed, snug, and crystal clear. It's always a little rewarding to see something vintage like this looking sharp and secure again, almost like it just rolled off the shelf in 1981. A small detail maybe, but one that makes all the difference. Now I'm going to wrap the protective sleeve in tissue paper to help prevent scuffing and clouding. Then, for an added layer of protection, especially in case the tissue tears during storage or handling, I'll wrap the whole thing again in plain shipping paper, as if I were preparing it for mailing. Now let's add a label, so it's clear what's wrapped inside. And that should do it. As a quick side note, any products I use for storage or preservation are simply the result of my own research. I don't receive compensation or sponsorships from any of the vendors I mention. I'm only sharing what I use and where I found it because I know how frustrating it can be when someone discovers a great product and never tells you what it is. That being said, once everything is wrapped and ready, the entire piece will be placed inside a plastic storage bin for long-term safekeeping. It's always rewarding to give these vintage treasures a little attention and care. They've earned it. Preserving vintage Star Wars items like this game isn't just about protecting cardboard and plastic. It's about holding on to the stories and feelings that came with them. Thanks for spending some time in the past with me today. I hope it brought back some memories or maybe even sparked a few new ones. Until next time, take care, and may the Force be with you.